Shalom, good evening. We are in the 7 beggars of Rabbi Nachman. We told already the story of the first one. Before we go to the second beggar, we will check something that has to do with the first beggar. You know about the story of all the people that remember all kind of stuff. We talk about, he will give explanation what they remember, but we see how it's parallel to the Sfirot. So he says that the sight, the
eyesight,
the sight, the mar'eh, have to do with the word of Bria, right? Mm-hmm. No, he don't talk about the word of Bria, he say it have to do with the neshama. Mm-hmm. Neshama is a mar'eh. Neshama is a mar'eh. We talk about the way you look, but in the sense of thought. Right? We talk about the word of the thought. We talk about the Chabad, basically. What you call muskal, the brain, the word of Bria.
The intellect.
The word of Bria. Let's put it this way. Bria, Chabad, Neshama, Mar'eh, appearance. After the word of Yetzirah is a Chagat. Chabad is the brain, is a Chokhmah Bina Dat. Chagat is Chesed Gvura Tiferet, is the emotion of the heart. What is the Ruach? The spirit. What is the smell? Reach. Almost the same letter like Ruach. After in the word of Asiyah, is the Nehi. What is the Nefesh? What is the Tam, the taste?
Taste.
The test, it means, what is the nefesh? The nefesh is we talk about the legs of the soul here, right? The legs. The legs is to go to different place where you want to go, right? And we talk about the kingdom. This is like the malchut.
Right.
What is the mouth? So in the mouth you have the taste. Why I go there? Why I go? The test is like
the motivation, the reason.
The motivation. This yeshet nafshecha. It means nefesh. You want to do something. The expression is.
Your desire.
Your desire. The expression is, you have nefesh for this. It's like you will say you have will for this.
Right.
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 You have a test. The test, you can say that is like the Sfira of Yesod of the Nehi, right? You have the two legs. It's like you go to from one place to another place. What is your self-confidence is the right legs, and your simplicity that you keep going, even it's hard. It's the left legs, right?
Right.
And after, above this, Olam HaAtzilut, he remembered nothing, right? He was nothing, Ayin. Because Atzilut is like above ego. It's bitul, it's a wisdom.
Right.
What? We are nothing. Right? This is a word of Atzilut. After, so what we have below this? Now we have to find things that are below. Below the word of Asiya. The word of Asiya is the most low, is no lower of it.
Right.
But we can talk about the kingdom of the word of Asiya. It means have to do with the reality, the more the physical of the word of Asiya. The Malchut of Olam Asiya. This is Netzach Hod Yesod, now we have the Malchut. Now in the Malchut you have again Yud-Ke Vav-Ke.
Oh, okay. Right.
So you have the Chokhmah, the Yud of the name of God, the Chokhmah. It's, you remember how the wise people make the seed. The seed came from the Mochin D'Abba, from the father bread. This is the root of the seed.
Right.
All right. So somebody have to prepare the seed. It means it's the wise people. It means the wisdom.
Right.
Yeah. This is Zera. They prepare the Zera. After is a zivug. Remember the connection between father and mother. So here we talk about that is between father and mother.
Right.
Sometimes we put that after father and mother, right? Usually Chokhmah Binah Dat. But this is the connection between father and mother. So now is a zivug. Remember the zivug when the seed passes from the father to the mother. So this is the dat. Dat, what you call the high, the dat elyon, the concept of dat have to do with, sometimes dat it's like the firstborn.
Right.
It's like the first son that make the connection between father and mother.
Yeah.
It's like the snake. But the snake can be too the sex relationship between father and mother, the zivug, right? It's why snake have to do with, that is a snake. It's why snake have to do with sex, sex, right?
Sexuality?
Sexuality, yeah.
Yeah.
Have to do with the number 666.
Oh, okay.
It's a snake, right?
It's also mean, like species, mean. Mem yud nun, mean.
Why mean?
Hebrew, like mean. Mean.
יחסי מין. Yeah, you call it in Hebrew יחסי מין too.
Yeah.
Relationship between this is the way you call in Hebrew, in modern Hebrew, the relationship between men and women.
Right.
Right.
When it's just sex, you call it יחסי מין.
Right.
Yeah. Mean it's kind.
Kind.
Relation
yeah,
between
like,
the two kind.
Right. Species.
So this is a dat. This is a zivug. Remember the zivug. After you remember when the time of Yetzirat Havalad, the time that the baby start to receive the form, what it takes 40 days.
The conception, when the baby is conceived.
it start to receive, to become a baby. יצירת הוולד, this is a mother, בינה. Right?
Yeah.
mother. יצירת הוולד. After this is a baby himself that is sleeping, and above his head is a candle, the Torah. This is a vav, the Eranpin. It's always a pillar of the Torah is a vav. It's a form of a candle too.
Right.
Right, so this is the Eranpin. Right, the vav of the name of God. This is a Yud, this is a K, this is the dot that is between that go to the crown. I mean, in the power of making connection between two opposite things came from something above both of them. In one way it's below them, in another way it's has to do with the crown. That's why when we count the crown, we don't count the dad to have the sefirot, the knowledge. So Zeranpin is a baby himself, is a son. He's a son. He's learning Torah, he has a candle above his head. And after, he born. You cut the apple from the tree. He completely go out of spirituality, born to this world. This is the malchut of Olam HaAsiyah. Right? So it's very logic. The order they put the stuff. This is said by himself. So from this we can understand the logic that came after. Yeah. So this is a Ibon, the kingdom. It's like speech go out. It's like something that go out from
something gives birth.
Completely born, go out of spirit existence, born to this physical world. They will use this three concepts, מראה, ריח, טעם, the sight, the smell and the taste, in the next story too. It's a concept that he uses probably in other places, Rabbi Nachman. All right, so. Now, if we go to the second beggar it's like the Mashiach. It means it's like Jesus. Even we talk about the יחידה of עולם האצילות, it's not Adam Kadmon, it's not the real יחידה. It's just יחידה relative to one word. Still, it's parallel to the general concept of Mashiach.
Yeah.
Right? Because all the יחידה in all the world, in all the level are the same idea.
Right.
Okay, so this is the King Chizkiyahu. The King Chizkiyahu that there are people said that Emmanuel is Chizkiyahu. And our said that Chizkiyahu, God want to make Chizkiyahu Mashiach. And it is written in Kitvei Arizal that he want to make him Mashiach ben Yosef. And like the rectification of Jesus have to do with eating the fig tree, it's why he says the second coming when the fig tree will be ready. It means I will be ready too. I will be able.
Right, yeah.
Right? So Chizkiyahu was ill with the figs, with the dry figs, right? With Dvelet Te'anim when he was sick. Right? So that we can see and the personality of Chizkiyahu that he completely count on the miracle of God, when he, instead of going to war against his enemies, just go to sleep, and God will do the work.
Wow.
Okay, so it's a very, it reminds in many ways Jesus. Very spiritual personality. He's not a fighter like David. He's just count completely on God. Right? What you call bitachon savil. Passive trust in God. Yeah. His active trust is the right legs. Passive trust is the left legs. Okay, so probably we'll see things that have to do with general, classic personality of Mashiach, what's supposed to be Mashiach in the second beggar. Okay? So now you help me to tell the story in English. We are in the second day of the wedding of the two children.
Right.
Boy and girls.
So, on the second of the 7 days of celebration, the couple began to remember the second beggar, the deaf one, who had sustained them and given them bread. They wept and yearned, "How can we bring here the deaf beggar who sustained us?" While they were yearning for him, he suddenly appeared and said, "Here I am." He fell on them and kissed them. He then said to them, "Now I'll give you a gift that you should be like me. You should live a good life like mine. I originally gave you this as a blessing, but now, as your wedding present, I am giving you this as an unrestricted gift. You think that I am deaf? I am not deaf at all, but the whole world does not amount to anything to me that I should listen to its shortcomings. All sounds come from deficiencies, since everyone cries out because of what he is lacking. Even all the joys of the world are the result of lacks. Since it is only because one has a lack that one rejoices when this lack is filled. But the entire world does not amount to anything for me that I should allow its deficiencies to enter my ears. I have a good life where nothing is lacking. I have the word of the land of wealth, that I live the good life. His good life was that he had bread to eat and water to drink. He then told them the story. There was a land that had lots of wealth and great treasures. Once the people got together and each one began to boast about how he lived a good life. Each one related exactly what kind of good life he had. I spoke up and said, "I am living a good life that is better than your good life. If you want proof, let me tell you about a certain land. If you are truly living a good life, let's see if you can save this land." This land had a garden. This garden had fruit which had every taste in the world. It also had every fragrance in the world. It also had every sight in the world, every color and every kind of flower. Everything was in that garden. There was a garden.
So that he talking about the sight, the smell, and the taste.
Yeah. Right. There was a gardener in charge of this garden. Because of that garden, the people of that land lived a good life. The gardener then vanished. With no one tending the garden, everything in the garden naturally withered and died. Nevertheless, the people...
The garden is like the Mashiach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It means you can say that it's a snake Mashiach. It's a shamash. It is written that about the snake that is pity that we lost a big shamash, a big worker for the garden,
Right.
be
Servant.
a bit servant to the garden.
Mhm.
So this is the secret of the snake. This is job. To do music for all the plant, for all the soul.
Mm.
Right? So this is what he calls the ganani. Ganan, it's
Ganan.
somebody that worked in a gun, in a garden.
Right.
Nagan.
Ganan, Nagan is the same
Nagan,
letter, Nagan,
Nagan.
player and
Right,
and,
yeah.
and somebody that worked in the garden, the same
Gardener,
letter.
Yeah.
Mm.
You see?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the people were still able to live from the wild plants that grew in the garden. A cruel king then attacked the land, but he was not able to do anything to the people. He therefore decided to ruin the good life that the land had from the garden. However, he did not ruin the garden itself. Instead, he left 3 groups of servants. He ordered them to follow his instructions and thus ruined the people's sense of taste. As a result of what they did, whenever anyone tasted anything, it had the taste of a rotten carcass. They also ruined the sense of smell. Every fragrance that the people smelled had the stench of galbanum, which this was what one of the ingredients in the 11 ingredients in the temple incense. Right. They also destroyed the sense of sight. They dimmed the people's eyes, as if they were covered with clouds and mists. All this was done at the cruel king's command. Now, if you are truly living the good life, let's see if you can save them. I'm telling you this because if you do not save them, then the damage that is stricken this land can also harm you. Wow. The wealthy people set off toward that land, and I also went with them. While traveling, each of them lived the good life in his way, since each one had taken along his treasures. However, as soon as they came near that land, their sense of taste began to go bad. They also began to feel that other things were also being spoiled for them. I said to them, "You have not even entered the land yet, and your sense of taste, etc., is ruined. What will happen once you actually get there? How will you be able to save them?" I then took my bread and water and gave some to them. As soon as they tasted my bread and water, their sense of taste was remedied. The same was true of their sense of smell and the like. Meanwhile, the people of the land that had the garden began to look for ways to remedy their senses that had been ruined. Their conclusion involved the land of wealth, from which I was now coming. It seemed that their lost gardener, who had provided them with a good life, had the same roots as the people of the land of wealth, who also had a good life. Therefore, their plan was to send a delegation to the land of wealth, who would certainly be able to help them. They sent messengers to the land of wealth. Along the way, the messengers met the people from the land of wealth with whom I had gone. "Where are you going?" they asked the messengers. "We're going to the land of wealth," they replied. "We want them to help us." "We ourselves are from the land of wealth," said the others. "We are on our way to you." I said to the others, "Actually, you need me. You can't go there yourselves. as you have already seen. You stay here. I will go with the messengers and help the land." I went with them, and we came to a city in the land. When I arrived, I saw a few people come and begin to tell jokes. Then other people gathered around, and they told jokes, giggling and laughing. When I listened more carefully, I realized that they were telling obscene jokes. One made an obscene remark, and another would repeat it in a more subtle fashion. Some would laugh, another would enjoy it. I then went to another city and saw two people arguing about a business deal. They went to court to settle the affair, and the court ruled that one was liable and the other innocent. However, as soon as they left the court, they once again began to argue. They said that they did not like the decision of this court and wanted another court. Since both of them wanted to try the case in another court, they chose another one. But after the case was tried, one of the people began arguing with someone else, and these two chose another court. The place was thus full of strife and argument. The people needed so many courts that the entire city was full of courts. I observed all this and realized that there was no truth there. Today a judge might decide in one person's favor and show him special consideration, and tomorrow the other would return the favor. Everything was based on bribery with no sense of the truth. I also noticed that the people were totally immoral sexually. Sexual immorality was so prevalent that everything seemed permissible to them. I said to them, "This is the reason that the taste, the fragrance, and the appearance have been spoiled for you. This cruel king left with you 3 groups of his servants, and they ruined the land. These servants began by speaking in a profane manner among themselves, and this brought profanity to the land. As a result of the profanity, the sense of taste became ruined, and everything tastes like a rotten carcass. They also brought bribery into the land. As a result, the eyes were dimmed, and the sense of sight was ruined, since bribery blinds the eyes of the wise."
This is aside the word of Bria,
Yeah.
the brain.
All this
Damage of...
everything he talks about, the courts, the sexual morality, the damaging to the eyes. It reminds me a lot of what Jesus was talking about.
Yeah.
On the Sermon on the Mount, he talks about how these things, take the right eye that's damaging you, throw it away.
Yeah.
Sell things before you get to the court because you don't know if they might throw you in or
Yeah,
that in.
it's like a
The
morality.
adultery,
It's
it's
like
all
a
the same concept,
classic
yeah.
morality of Mashiach. Or
Right, it's the
Jesus.
same concept, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's why I say it's
Yes,
a
why he says
personality that
Mashiach.
parallel to the concept of Jesus.
Right, very much so.
So we had the taste.
The
Because-
test is...
Because of the profanity, right? Speaking profanity. We have the sight, the eyesight.
the eyesight is
Because of the bribery.
He changed the order.
Yeah.
He changed the order. He go from the nefesh to the to the neshama, after to the ruach. But it's the same free thing, parallel to the same free concept.
Yeah. Okay. And then also they brought sexual immorality into the land. This caused the sense of smell to be ruined.
This is the smell. People can't smell anymore because of the all the radiation
The mass for the radiation. Yeah.
comes from the mass too.
The pollution.
Comes from all of them. But really, there's a bigger reason that I think Hashem's doing this, because something deeper about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Therefore you must correct these 3 wrongs in your lands. Find out who the king's servants are and drive them away. When you correct these 3 wrongs, then not only will you restore the taste, fragrance, and appearance, but the missing gardener will also be able to be found. The people did this and began to rid the land of these 3 wrongs. They investigated, and when they captured them, they asked, "Where do you come from?" When they determined that they were the cruel king's agents, they banished them. The land was thus rectified of the 3 wrongs. While this was going on, there was a sudden excitement. People began to say, "There is a crazy man who is going around saying that he is the
This is
gardener."
Mashiach, and everybody think he's crazy.
Everyone thought that he was crazy, so they threw stones at him and drove him away. But somehow it is possible that he's the one. Maybe he's actually the gardener. The men who were trying to remedy the land went and brought him before them. I said, "Certainly this is really the gardener. Therefore I have the word of the land of wealth, that I live the good life, since I was able to rectify this land. Now my gift to you is my good life." When he finished speaking, there was great joy and tremendous rejoicing. Similarly, all the beggars were to return and come to the wedding, giving the couple wedding presents, that they should be like them. When they had originally given as a blessing, they gave as a wedding present. What they had originally given as a blessing, they gave as a wedding present. The first one thus gave them a gift of long life, while the second one gave them a gift of a good life.
This is Atik Yomin and Arich Anpin.
Long life?
Atik Yomin is a long life,
Wow, that's beautiful.
is a body. Arich Anpin is a soul, is a good life.
Hmm. Wow.
So I think it's very clear. We can see the relation. Now we go to the
Right.
the next day.
Mm-hmm.
The next day it's have to do with Rabbi Nachman himself. We'll see if we can see the relation.
Really, the 3rd day?
היום השלישי.
I thought Rabbi Nachman would be the 4th because he's usually Netzach.
No, I don't count this like this.
Oh yeah.
We have in עולם האצילות 5.
5, yeah.
And
The Baal Shem Tov, the
the
Admor
neshama,
Zaken, Rabbi Nachman, Rav Kook, and the Rabbi.
the mother, what is the neshama, is connected to Arich Anpin, and the father, what is the chaya, is connected to Atik Yomin. The way they are related. You know, the wisdom called father, Atik Yomin called father.
So
And this has to do with sight.
Rabbi Nachman is the mother, right?
And Rabbi Nachman is definitely female. His
Right.
first Torah is about Chen. Chen
Right.
is female.
Right.
He's very female, and he's connected. He's
Right.
connected more to Jesus, to the mentality of the soul. What is the neshama?
To the Arich Anpin.
Yeah, the
long life.
is connected to the good life, Rabbi Nachman.
Wait, you're saying Bina, Ima, is connected to Arich Anpin?
Yeah,
Arikampin's the feminine,
Right, so Arich
Yeah.
Anpin is the long life.
long face.
no,
You said Atik Yomin is the good life?
No, opposite. Atik Yomin is a long life,
Oh.
and Arich Anpin is a good life. Arich Anpin is a Mashiach,
Oh.
is a Yechidah. Is a good life. It's what we just read now.
Oh, okay. It's because, okay.
Okay?
I see. So Arich Anpin is,
Now we have the first one was Achaz. After Chizkiyahu, now Menashe, what is the letter of Neshama? He repent, Menashe, in his last, and before he passed away. He repent. All right, so Rabbi Nachman have a very strong connection to Baalei Tshuva, to the concept of repenting.
right. Well,
The Tshuva is always a mother.
yeah.
Bina calls it Tshuva in the Zohar.
Right. Yeah.
And if you call all the Olam HaAtzilut Father, all the Olam HaAtzilut is the wisdom, is the Yud of the name of God,
Right.
related to. So the middle is a Neshama. So it's why it's like Pnimiut Abba. It's like the middle of Olam HaAtzilut.
Uh-huh. Oh, I
So something that
Right.
touch both of them.
see. Right.
The neshama have to do with the intellect, and the intellect, it's father. It's a snake many times. So it's why it is written pnimiut ima, pnimiut atik too. The inner of the mother have to do with atik yomin too, not only as a father. Okay, atik yomin is like both of them together. Both of them together, it means the dominant is a snake, is the body. The moment they are both together.
Uh-huh.
It's all right?
So, should we go to the third day?
Yeah, the third day.
On the
Now
third-
we'll see concepts that have to do with above time. In the fifth beggar, we'll see things that have to do with above space. The time it's like the father, it's like the wisdom, and the one above the time is above time, and the mother is space. So the mother have to do with the end of where mother connected to the father. It's like the end of the space. This we see it with the fifth one because it's like the two sides of the wisdom. Wisdom it's above time, above space.
Right. On the third day, the couple once again began to reminisce. And they wept and yearned, how can we bring the third beggar who had a speech defect? All of a sudden, he appeared and said, "Here I am." He fell on them and kissed them. He then said, "At first I blessed you that you should be like me. Now I'm giving you as a wedding present that you should be like me. You think that I have a speech defect. I do not have a speech defect at all. Rather, all the words in the world which do not praise God do not have any perfection in them. I therefore seem to have a speech problem, since I cannot speak words which lack perfection. But actually, I do not have a speech problem at all. Quite the contrary, I'm a wonderful orator and speaker. I can speak in parables and lyric that are so wonderful that there's no created thing in the world that does not want to hear me. The parables and lyrics that I know contain all wisdom. Regarding this, I have the word of a great man who is called the true man of kindness. There is an entire story about this. Once all the wise men were sitting together, and each one boasted of his wisdom. One boasted that with his wisdom he had discovered how to make iron. One boasted that he had discovered another type of metal. Another boasted that with his wisdom he had discovered how to make silver, which is more valuable. One boasted that he had discovered how to make gold. One boasted that he had discovered how to make weapons. One boasted that he had invented ways of making metals from ingredients out of which metals are not usually made. One boasted about other sciences, since with these sciences such things as saltpeter and gunpowder were invented. Thus each one boasted about his wisdom. Finally, one of them spoke up and said, I am wiser than all of you. I am wise like the day. The others did not understand what he meant when he said he was wise like the day. He explained to them, if all your wisdom was put together, it would only amount to a single hour. It is true that each science is derived from a particular day, depending on what was created on that day. Nevertheless, all the sciences merely involve combining things in different ways. Therefore, each science is only derived from combinations of things created on that day. With true wisdom, one can gather all these sciences into a single hour, but I am wise like a full day. This was the boast of the last wise man. I spoke up and said to him, like which day? Speaking of me, this wise man replied, this man is even wiser than I am, since he can ask like which day. However, I am wise like any day you prefer. Now you might ask why a person who can ask like which day is wiser than one who is as wise as any day he desires. This, however, involves a story. It concerns the true man of kindness, who is actually a very great man. I go around and gather all true kindness and bring it to the true man of kindness. Time itself is something that was created, and time exists primarily as a result of true kindness. I therefore go around gathering all true kindness and bring it to the true man of kindness. There is a mountain. On the mountain there is a stone. From this stone flows a spring. Everything has a heart. Therefore, the world as a whole also has a heart. The heart of the world has a complete body with face, hands, and feet. However, a toenail of the heart of the world has more of the essential nature of a heart than the heart of anything else. Wow. The mountain with the stone and the spring stands at one end of the world. The heart of the world stands at the opposite end of the world. The heart of the world faces the spring and constantly longs and yearns to come to the spring. It has a very, very great longing, and it cries out very much that it should be able to come to the spring. The spring also yearns for the heart. The heart has two things that make it weak. First, the sun pursues it and burns it. This is because it has such a desire yearning to go and be close to the spring. The second thing that weakens the heart is the great longing and yearning that it constantly has toward the spring. It longs and yearns so much that its soul goes out and it cries out. It constantly stands facing the spring and it cries out, "Help!" desiring it so very much. When the heart wants to rest a bit and catch its breath, a great bird comes and spreads its wings over it, protecting it from the sun. It then can relax a bit. However, even when it is resting, it looks toward the spring and yearns for it. One may wonder, since it yearns for it so much, why does it not go to the spring? However, if it were to come close to the mountain, then it would no longer see the peak. It then could not gaze at the spring. And if it stopped looking at the spring, it would die. Since its main source of life is the spring. When it stands facing the mountain, it can see the peak upon which the spring is. But as soon as it comes close to the mountain, the peak is hidden from its eyes. This is clearly seen. If it could not see the spring, then it would die. If the heart died, then the entire world would cease to exist. The heart is the life force of all things, and nothing can exist without a heart. It is for this reason that it cannot go to the spring. It therefore stands facing it, yearning and crying out. Time does not exist for the spring. The spring is not inside time at all. The spring only has time because the heart gives it as a gift for one day. However, when the time comes for the day to come to a close, then at the end of the day the spring will not have any more time, and it will therefore die. This in turn would cause the heart to die. The entire world would then cease to exist. Toward the end of the day, they begin to take leave of each other. At that time, they begin to speak to one another in wonderful parables and lyrics, with great love and tremendous desire. The true man of kindness watches very carefully over this. At the exact end of the day, the true man of kindness gives the heart a gift of one day. The heart gives the day to the spring, and the spring then once again has time. When this day comes from the place from which it comes, it also comes from very wonderful parables and lyrics, containing all types of wisdom. There are differences between the various days. There is Sunday, Monday, etc. Besides this, there are new moon days and festivals. All the time that the true man of kindness comes from my hand. It is I who go forth and gather all the true kindness from which time comes into existence. It is for this reason that he is wiser even than the wise man who is as wise as any day one prefers. This is because the time and days come into existence primarily through the beggar with a speech defect who gathers true kindness, which is the basis of time, and brings this to the true man of kindness. The latter gives a day to the heart, who in turn gives it to the spring, and as a result the entire world is sustained. Therefore, time is brought into existence with parables and lyrics that contain all wisdom through the beggar which with the speech defect. Therefore, I have the word of the true man of kindness, that I can recite parables and lyrics that contain all wisdom. All time, along with parables and lyrics, comes into existence through my hands. And now I'm giving you this as a wedding present. You should be just like me. After he gave them this blessing, there was great joy and rejoicing.
Wow.
Wow.
It's complicated.
Wow. But it's very heartbreaking and beautiful and deep and
Okay, we will try to give explanation to all this. We say that this beggar is parallel to the concept of Rabbi Nachman. Now, if we talk about the word Yishai, it represents the Chaya, it means it's all wisdom. Right? This is a Chaya of Mashiach. In one way it's Olam HaAtzilut, so if it is Olam HaAtzilut, so the Neshama is exactly in the middle. But if we talk just about the Chaya as the wisdom, so then the third beggar will be above the wisdom. Not here, here. הקבצן השלישי. Right? It will be here, what we have above the wisdom, let's say that this is Pnimiuta, but this is the wisdom. Above wisdom, we have the concept of the birb of Arich Anpin, what are the channel for the brain going from the above consciousness to the wisdom and to father and mother. Right? What you call the 13 attribute of
mercy.
Of mercy. Yud Gimel Midot HaRachamim. Basically, they split to two parts. The part of the front of the beard and the back of the beard. The father receives from the front part of the beard what is the 8 mazal, the 8 attribute, what is נוצר חסד לאלפים. נוצר חסד לאלפים. Keep his grace to the 1,000. נוצר חסד לאלפים have the acronym of Nachal. Nachal is it's like how you say Nachal in English?
A brook, a stream.
A stream, not a spring.
A stream.
Stream.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a verse. נחל נובע מקור חוכמה. Now we have the word נחל here.
Right.
What is the acronym of נוצר חסד לאלפים? He keep his grace for the 1,000. The 1,000 is, it's like 2,000. 1,000 is the father, the other 1,000 is the mother. Alepha, Chokhmah, I will teach you. Aleph, 1,000 is came from the word I will teach you. Alefcha Chokhmah, Alefcha Bina. I will teach you wisdom, I will teach you understanding.
Right.
Okay? It's why it is written that the Torah exists 2,000 years before the creation of the world. We have the 7th day of creation. Above the 7th day, we have the father and mother. So the father and mother, you call them the 2,000. Alafim, it means the 2,000.
Right.
Okay? 2,000 שנה קדמה.
The two pre-millennia
Yeah.
of father and mother.
Yeah, before the 6,000.
Right.
So נחל נובע מקור חוכמה, זה הקונים of נחמן. What equal netzach, eternity. It means above time. Okay? 148. נחל נובע מקור חוכמה, it means the stream that
flowing
the root of the wisdom.
Right.
In the Arich Anpin, is מוח הסתימה,
the hidden mind. The hidden mind.
Brand, the ending brand, and from there, through the beard, the wisdom receives new revelation.
Right.
Okay. So it's like a spring that came from the mountain to the wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So we say, we can say that this is a stone. We can say that this is a stone. This is a mountain. How? Right? This is a mountain too. But we will say now that this is the spring, the נחל, right? זה פרדבגר, הקבצן השלישי. הקבצן השלישי. This is like above time. Time starts from here. This is like above time. Now we have a mountain, we have a stone on top of the mountain, and we have a Maayan. Maayan, it's like the spring that go out from the stone. The Maayan, the mountain is Yeshai. מי אתה ההר הגדול? Who are you, the big mountain in front of Zerubbabel? הר הגדול equal Avner. Avner, it means the father of the candle, is Yeshai. Talked in the past many times about the concept of Avner. So this is a mountain. On top of the mountain is a stone, and from the stone came out a river, Marian. This is like David that is between Shlomo and Yishai. This is Yishai, Shlomo, Yishai. But David came between. If we have Yishai, we have Shlomo, we must have David between them. And we have David here too. David is like the nefesh, Now above the Chayav, we have the heart of the word, what refer to Jesus. Right? So they want to meet each other. But the mountain don't let them meet. The mountain is the sun too. He must to be on top of the mountain, but if he go down to go toward, he will lost the sight and he cannot live without seeing the spring. Okay? We can say that above the heart you have a big bird, ציפור גדול. It's like a תיכיומין. ציפור equal עשיו. גדול equal עשיו in order number. Alright, so this is like a תיכיומין. And here we have the איש חסד שלהם. איש חסד האמת, the person
of true kindness.
of true איש חסד האמת, of true kindness, חסד האמת.
I think
This is
האמת can...
פנימיות אבא, so it can be below David, he came here, right? He came here, and he came as a תיכיומין too, above the heart. He's the one that gives time to the heart, so he's above the heart. But he received, from his place here, he received from the third beggar, the time.
Right.
The third beggar is the one that collect with his singing, with his wisdom, he collect all the good thing, all the good stuff that people do in the world. It means God have another reason to continue to create the world, because they are good thing. All right, so he collect and all this wisdom have to do with time, anytime he want. He give me the time, the day to this guy, and this guy's פנימיות אבא is connected to התיכיומין. פנימיות אבא פנימיות תתי, and התיכיומין give it to the heart. He give him another day. Okay, so we talk basically about something that is above time. This is, in the middle here, it's like the root of, here starts the time and the space.
Right.
Okay? And here, it's like, when we will talk about the beggar, the fifth beggar, we'll see that we talk about above space. Now we talk about above time. This is time and space, above time and space. פנימיות אבא. This is above time, this is above space. Right? So this is about the way I understand this. This is like Mashar ben David, this is the brain, the spring, this is the heart, and the brain. They want to meet. It's like a husband and wife.
Right.
It's like.
But they can never fully meet.
And yeah, this has to happen one day.
But it says that the father and mother are always trein rein shalom tparshim.
Well, this is not the
They're
father
always
and
together.
this is not the father and the mother. This is Arich Anpin, and here is the Bia. This is like the root of David. This is the Yechidah. This is like the Nefesh. But David is here too, in the Chaya. Okay? He's here inside too. I hope you you get something from it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit complicated. But it's interesting, this picture of the heart that want to meet. It's like Mashiach ben Yosef want to meet Mashiach ben David, and it's impossible.
Yeah, it's very powerful
It's a
story. I mean,
it's
really
impossible. But still, must to be some connection, at least by sight, between both of them for the word to exist.
wow.
Well, Rabbi Nachman. Okay, we go to the next story or no? No, I think it's enough for today.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.